This is the beginning of Cosmic Fire Webinar Commentaries number 22B. We're working in the Paths of Higher Evolution Compilation, and we're talking about the adepts who are training to become Planetary Logoi, going through the various grades on the way to that training. And they have no particular relation or nothing to do with the sense of touch. They have much to do with sight and hearing. And yet they are connected with the solar plexus, which presumably has much to do with touch. I wonder if the sacral center has to do with touch as well. Maybe. So we have to sort out that apparent contradiction. So they are not, they have the power to correlate the relation between the not-self, between the self and the not-self, but the not-self is coming under the guidance and the stimulation of a totally different group of cosmic workers. These workers are working in the realm of spirit. He says, it is difficult to convey a clear meaning in this connection, and the student must remember that we are dealing with spirit and the other two types of cosmic energy. Okay, so this whole section is about spirit, all these sections on the 7 cosmic paths, and the other energies that we consider must also be considered from the cosmic perspective, even when we are within the cosmic physical plane, upon the cosmic ethers. They are, after all, cosmic ethers. And so on our cosmic physical plane, there will be some activity, some cosmic activity. This we discussed before. This path is trodden by those who will take up the work of the 7 planetary logoi of the next solar system, the 3rd major and 6th in a series, and the 49 subplanetary logoi, which presumably are the lords of the planetary chains. And there are many planetary logoi which are left out of this consideration. We have more than 115, we are told. So they will take up the work of the planetary logoi, the subplanetary logoi, and their assistants, maybe globe lords, and of certain other entities working in that particular department, even though those who take this path are numerically not so many. And there will be 7 systems, we have been told, though we are only concerned with the major 3, of which our present solar system is but the 2nd. So whatever is the nature of the synthetic system, we are not concerned with it now. Synthetic solar system, we are not concerned with it now. Okay. Each Shohan of array, now this is repetition, takes a certain number of initiates of the 6th initiation. And, you know, he's not saying, but this is what occurs to me here, this may not be the same thing as a Chohan of an ashram. A Chohan of a ray may be a larger type of post. Maybe yes, maybe no. It takes a certain number of initiates of the 6th initiation and trains them specifically for this work. Note that as it stands now, one pretty well has to be a Chohan to be trained for this path work. One must be a Chohan to be trained for work on these paths or ways of higher evolution. And then going on, special aptitude in color and sound predispose the choice, and the ability to work with psyche, that is the correlation of the self and the not-self, as DK explained it. or with the spirits in evolution, marks a man out for this high post. No matter where they are, no matter how submerged they may be, these type of adepts are able to contact the psyche of these spirits immersed in various densities of form. They can get through to the soul of things. So these psyches can get through to the soul behind and within all things. We might say that the planetary logoi are the divine psychologists. This is repetition, but it doesn't hurt, does it? And therefore, in the training for the post, for this post, psychology is the basic subject. Those of us who are interested in psychology, do we think necessarily that we are on the path of the planetary logoi? Remember that so many people are interested in psychology today, but what kind of psychology is it? And that not many are selected for this particular path. So the psychology maybe has a little seed in the kind of psychology we have in this book, A Treatise on Cosmic Fire, but it's an inconceivable psychology to us. Every planetary locus has, in his own special planet, schools for the development of subordinate logoi, and this is probably going on in Earth School now. And there trains them, gives them opportunity for wide experience. Even the logoi themselves progress onward, and their places must be taken. So anyway, here we have more information on the planetary schools and the different divisions within those schools. Okay. Right. It says here that students may be surprised to know that the source of the peculiar cosmic energy which is found streaming towards our system along this cosmic path is that of the sun Betelgeuse in the constellation Orion. This name is, however, a blind, and is it a blind for the entire system of Orion? Sometimes a part is used to represent the whole, as when, let us say, Sirius may represent the entire Sirian system of 7 solar systems. Sometimes it's hard to think that Sirius is not a member, being so close to the Sun, of the 7 solar systems, of which ours is one. But we can use the part to represent the whole. So the name, we are told, is a blind. The reason that certain facts connected with this sun have lately come more prominently before the public is really, in reality, a subjective one. So remember, this is written back in the years before 1925. It's getting to be almost 100 years ago. Over 90 years ago. The science of the soul in its various aspects, mental, psychical, and spiritual, is making much headway now in the world and is absorbing more and more the attention of the thinkers. Well, is Betelgeuse or Betelgeuse and possibly Orion connected with the science of the soul? That's science of the soul. Let's do that. Science of the soul. Hmm. Right. So this is not really a digression. He seems to be saying that there is a subjective reason for Betelgeuse becoming so prominent in the public psyche, and it's because the science of the soul is making its emergence. Now, with respect to what ray will we find the study of the science of the soul? Very much the fourth ray, and especially the second ray. This is the result of certain waves of energy impinging upon our solar system and thus eventually finding their way to our planet. You wonder whether psychology is in some way emerging among the humanity of the different planets. Maybe it's only, as we know psychology, targetable or suitable for the type of humanity we have. Betelgeuse, from the occult standpoint, is a system of the second order, just as our solar system is one of the fourth order. We're not talking about now the different ways that scientists have of measuring the spectra or the luminosity of the stars. We're talking about an inherent occult order. And the way it's positioned, it could well be a heart center, but it will have something to do with our monadic plane since it's a system of the fourth order. This will relate to our monadic plane through the number 2. There is consequently a relation between these two numbers, both in the system and in the cosmos, 2 and 4, and this influence reaches our system via the sign Sagittarius. They are, after all, these two, they are, Sagittarius and Orion, both hunters. And as hunters, of course, they can have much to do with the sixth ray. With Sagittarius, we have no second ray. With Orion, we have possibly the second ray if Betelgeuse is emblematic of Orion. Betelgeuse, it would seem, would not be the would be the heart center of this major sevenfold constellation. At least it has 7 first magnitude of stars. It's impossible to ignore this. So my question was that if Betelgeuse, wonder how one is to, there are different ways of pronouncing this, aren't there? Why don't we take a look and see what these ways are? Okay, B-E-T-E-L-G-E-U, Betelgeuse. Now let's see, will we Betelgeuse or Betelgeuse? Betelgeuse. Juice. Not Betelgeuse. Okay. Oh, here, just for fun, is Orion. And just pointing out, if it's possible to make this any bigger, I don't know. I can't see a way of making it bigger, but there it is. And probably we may look at some larger picture. Betelgeuse, Betelgeuse. Alpha Orionis is the 9th brightest star in the night sky, and the 2nd brightest in the constellation Orion. So, will this be the solar plexus or the heart? I think, from its kind of lore and its connection with the second order, it will be more the heart. So there is consequently a relation between these two numbers, both in the system and in the cosmos. And if Betelgeuse juice is a star of the second order, can we connect it with the second major center, the heart center? Maybe. And I think elsewhere he talks about the energy of love in relation to Betelgeuse. Let's see this. I'll try to Betel. There are 6 references. So the interest awakened in the public mind by the giant star Betelgeuse, in the constellation Orion is due to the interplay now between our system and it, an interplay between 2 and 4, 4 and 2. So here's the same idea. It's a star of the second order. Oh, come on. There must be a way. Is there something wrong here? Looks like there's something wrong. We'll try this way. Betelgeuse. There's only 3 references here. Okay, and let's see if we can look elsewhere. Okay, the heart center. Here we go. This is esoteric psychology. Influential and potent forces pouring in at this time from the great stars, Betelgeuse and Sirius. Betelgeuse and Sirius. I keep on wanting to say Goys. It's not correct. These two influences, to these two influences, the disciples of the world in their senior ranks of the new group of world servers definitely react, and they produce a stimulation of the heart center, Betelgeuse, and the head center, Sirius, and this is important. And there's some secondary meanings as well. But I'm going to outline or underline this, if I can. Good, and then let's see what else. Betelgeuse and Antares, okay. And here we are coming right back to the same charts that we're going to have to look at. Now, let's go further. So we have a lineup here of, let's see, there it is. And let's see how far back we have to go. 1, 2, yes, it's Esoteric Psychology, page 721. EP 2, 721. And we see a definite connection with the heart center and not with the solar plexus. Is that just happenstance, or can a solar plexus in a great being be that which stimulates the heart center in a lower being? I suppose that's possible as well, but I'm looking at the correspondence. They produce the stimulation of the heart center, Betelgeuse, and the head center, Sirius. And this may tell us something, by the way, of the role of Sirius within the 7 solar systems. So, what do we learn of the role of Sirius in the 7 solar systems, of which ours is one? That's just an incidental question. So these two numbers, they're interactive. The number 2 and 4 are interactive in the system and in the cosmos. In our system we have Jupiter and Mercury, and kind of interesting that Mercury is called the star of Sirius, and Jupiter is related to hunting, to the Sagittarius, and therefore also to the hunter, to its expansive quality. But if Jupiter is related to the hunter, then Jupiter is a second-ray star, a second-ray planet. If Jupiter is related to Orion, the hunter, then we have to think of its second-ray quality. And Jupiter rules the heart center. So there are some correlations here which have to be dealt with. We're dealing with solar plexus and or with heart, and we want to know along what line this path of the planetary logoi is pursued, because it does deal with psyche, especially. And psyche, I suppose, can be connected with the second ray or with the sixth or with the fourth. But especially the psyche is the second aspect. So, is the second aspect of divinity. Let's see if we can learn more. The work that adepts on this path have to accomplish primarily is to make possible the manifestation of the monad of the Solar Logos through the medium of the body of consciousness, or through soul form. The second ray, of course, is the form-building aspect. The work of the adepts on this path, what they have to accomplish primarily, is to make possible the manifestation of the monad of the Solar Logos through the medium of the body of consciousness, or through soul form. So how or through what will the monad of the Solar Logos manifest? Not just through a sun, but it needs a whole system. The monad is the source of the chakric vortices. They thus repeat on a higher level the work of those builders who create and make manifest the body through which the soul seeks to express itself. So they produce a vehicle of manifestation. These adepts produce vehicles of manifestation. They are not concerned with objectivity now, and thus again sense of touch is not so important, or is not at all important to them, and have a relation to the fifth hierarchy, which gives to man his egoic body. Now, by this, we seem to be speaking of the fifth manifested creative hierarchy of solar angels, or Makara. If the fifth is an unmanifested creative hierarchy, then we are dealing with the creative hierarchy which veils the Christ. And that too might be possible. I mean, what really does give the egoic body to man? Well, certainly it is the solar angel working on the higher mental plane, but they are in a sense inspired by the fifth unmanifested creative hierarchy, which in a sense is giving form, or is related to all the mass forms in the cosmic physical plane. It will be on the lowest level of the cosmic astral plane right now. It is still not quite liberated, and is still on the cosmic etheric planes, and especially on the logoic subplane. Okay. We can say here, psyche is subjective. And the true soul is subjective. This group has to do with the true soul and with creating a body through which there can be manifestation for the solar logoic monad. But how can they be, what do they create? What kind of body do they create? If they are not involved with objectivity. Are we speaking of subtle bodies and vehicles on higher planes than the dense physical body of the planetary logos or solar logos? Is that possible? They are not concerned with objectivity and have a relation to the fifth hierarchy, which gives to man his egoic body. Well, in a way, the fifth creative hierarchy too. Let's just say the fifth creative hierarchy manifested. Well, let's do it better. The fifth manifested creative hierarchy is also not a builder of the personality per se. This is done through the atomic triangle and not through the direct intervention of the solar angels. In other words, they are not the hands-on builders. The solar angels are not the, let's call it, hands-on builders, but they may set the pattern and the type. Okay, the adepts on our Earth planet who seek this path do so through the department of the Maha Chohan, which works with intelligence or mental aspects of manifestation. Now, this means that those who have the third ray monad, will be the ones who follow this path. From this third department they pass under the direct training of one of the Buddhas of activity. So they and others on different paths train on our planet and in our solar system before going to more distant suns or constellations. And in the final stages, they are personally taught by Sanat Kumara, functioning as the embodied planetary logos. It seems that there is a close connection here between Path 1 of Earth service and Path 3, this path. This training concerns itself with three main subjects. So, taught by the Lord of the world himself and by the Buddhas of activity right here within our planetary scheme. What we have to begin to wonder is how rapidly do any of these Chohans or masters treading these paths actually leave our planetary system, leave our solar system, remain in touch with our solar logos, even though above our solar system, or go to some other sun or constellation for further training before going to the Pleiades. So, questions, and I think I will ask that in sequence. How long does it take for our Chohans or masters on these paths to, and let's say 1, remain on our planet for a path training? Whoa. Okay, what happened here? I don't want this at all. I think the thing to do is this. No, that's not very good. Ah, I see what it is. I see how we go. Remain on our path, on our planet for path training. Remain in our solar system, in our solar system, for path training. Remain in the bodies of the solar logos for path training. These can be higher bodies too. A venture and remain on other planets in our solar system for path training. Remain in the bodies, in the subtle bodies of our solar logos for path training. These can be higher bodies too. Actually venture to other stars for path training, and let's say venture to other constellations for path training. Finally, come home to the Pleiades at the conclusion of their experience in other constellations, which are chakras within the one about whom none may be said. So, what is the schedule there? How long does it take? What is the schedule, and how long does it take? I'm going to try to bring some of these markers here. Okay, so now let's go back here. The training is taught by Sanat Kumara as the embodied planetary logos. I suppose one could be taught how to be a globe lord. One could be taught how to be a chain lord, which has been called, I think, a subplanetary logos. So training along these very long paths, and the path may take how long altogether? Longer than the duration of our solar system, perhaps? This has to do with the relative freedom of the monad within the body of expression of the one about whom not may be said, or the degree of its inherence in our solar logos. That needs to be clarified. So the training has to do with color, that which veils the spirit aspect as dense form veils the soul. So let's call this the modes of training. For the path of the planetary logoi. Okay, path of the planetary logoi. No. All right, well, let's see. Okay. Path of the Planetary Logoi. That should be enough, and I'm surprised that it autocorrect. Path of the Planetary Logoi. Well, let's just say yes, we'll replace it. Right. So, modes of training for the path of the Planetary Logoi, the third path, it's undertaken in the Mahat Chohan's department, and because it's undertaken in the Mahat Chohan's department, it does relate to manifestation, but also to psyche. And we have to see which more so than the other, if more so. So this path does relate to manifestation, but also to psyche within that which is manifested. Okay. So this training has to do with color, with that which veils the spirit aspect as dense form veils the soul. Dense forms will have to be created in any planetary expression, or forms of varying density. Maybe not all planets yet have a dense physical vehicle. With sound, that which the spirit utters in order to make itself conscious. That's an amazing thought. And to produce psychic awareness. So, sound produces form. And of the form, the spirit becomes conscious. The whole science of mantra yoga is mastered by them. So throat center activity is very important when creating a planet, but only in connection with the higher planes and where the cosmic planes are concerned. So very subtle forms. Well, let's see. No, they produce sound from the higher worlds. And this production will have its inevitable effect in the lower worlds. Okay. And also training with the nature of duality and that which is basically the science of the soul. So again, you know, vision, cosmic vision, deva hearing, and correlation of the self and the not self. So the correlation with the nature of duality and overcoming the nature of duality. So consciously living in a non-dual state, even while generating the appearance of duality in form. So they produce the Maya, and those who are immersed in the Maya perceive duality, even though the adepts on this path do not. Okay, it is difficult to express in words the method employed by a master of the wisdom as he enters this cosmic path. It has been called the method of prismatic identification. Or identification, maybe, with the colors which the prism produces when white light is passed through it. So it has been called the method of prismatic identification, for it concerns the color veils which shroud the spiritual energy. And there are various frequencies which produce these veils. Maybe it is this path, on this path. Well, the third ray, let's put it like this. Third ray veils, but also lifts the veils through, but also lifts the veils, rends the veils, and basically reveals that which is behind the veils. So what an entity has done, it can undo. If we descend on a path, we can return on the path. If we drop a veil, we can lift a veil. So the third ray is very good at the process of unveiling once it discovers how veiled its perceptions really are. Another mode of expressing the same truth is to say that it is the method of understanding the song of life. We might say, there's the throat center again. Note how often the third ray, the throat center, creativity, are all mentioned. So music, we can say that music, as sound, creates forms. And it sounds like we here have to understand the relationship of what we call music to the structure of cosmos. Music and the structure of cosmos. As the stars sing together, as the chant of the gods peals forth in the great choir of the heavens, it produces a corresponding color symphony. So it seems there's, not only the third ray, but the fourth as well. This particular mode of identification enables the adept to act as a director in the chorus and to produce the needed color effects and chords. This is so much connected with the fourth ray. But the weaving, all of this is connected with the fourth ray, but the weaving as well of the third ray is involved. When he can do all this to perfection, he is then in a position to take up office as a planetary logos, but there have been many, or let's say, a number of spheres whereon he expresses his abilities before becoming fully the planetary logos. More it is not permitted to say, and the above is but a symbolic way of expressing a basic and a difficult truth. Ah, amazing. There's quite a bit here, quite a bit. They don't get any easier, do they? The symbol of this path, and it is only possible to make, and only one, the only one it is possible to make exoteric, is a radiant cross of colored light. It has the long limb formed of the 7 colors of the solar spectrum, and the transverse limb is a compound of 12 gradations of colors as yet unknown to man. So we have what we would call colors, correlated to the 7 rays, and colors correlated to the 12 signs of the zodiac. Okay, so we'll do this. 12 zodiacal signs, TZS. 12 zodiacal signs. We don't know these gradations, but the 7 we can presume are related to the 7 rays. And because we have a number 12, I think it's fair to relate them to the heart centers or to the zodiacal signs, each one of which, each zodiac, our zodiac, is really a heart center, and other zodiacs reflect it. In the center of the cross is to be seen a 5-pointed star in deep indigo shade, and behind it is a blazing sun of warm dark blue. So, we seem to see a very strong second ray on this path to combine with the third ray or third aspect, which is obvious from earlier descriptions. Above the whole are certain senza characters depicted in gold and conveying to the initiated adept the name of one or other of the planetary schools in which this particular line of study is taken. So first we have there is study, is study in the planetary schools, and then later a leaving of the system, probably. So, above the whole are certain senza characters depicted in gold, and conveying to the initiated adept, well, are not all adepts initiated? We have to say that this is a Chohan. The name of one or other of the planetary schools in which this particular line of study is undertaken. One or other of the planetary schools. Well, maybe there are only certain planetary schools in which this will this study be undertaken in all planetary schools or only in some? We know that Jupiter is involved. There are, as has been already said, 7 such schools. Well, are there not more than that? Let's count them. But some of the schools are not mentioned. So if we went to here, esoteric psychology, and we sought to go up, we're not going to be able to do that. We're just going to have to do this and count them. No, it's going to be over here instead. So we'll count up from the bottom. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We're given 8 planetary schools here. And then we would have to combine 9 Saturn, 10 Sun, 11 Moon, 12 Pluto. The Sun and Moon are not really planetary schools. I suppose they're blinds for planets on which such schools exist. 7 such schools, well, I suppose, connected with the sacred planets. And the candidates for this path from our planetary scheme are transferred to the inner round. The inner round on our planet, and from thence to Jupiter scheme. But there are candidates from other planetary schemes, and are they transferred to our inner round and thence to Jupiter, or do they take a different line? We can see the connection of Jupiter to Betelgeuse, to Sagittarius, to the heart center. By the way, I want to say back here, if we count carefully, let us count the factors, the constituents. Let us count the constituents. Well, really 3 major. So the cross, the star, and the sun. And on the cross, 19. Plus 5 of the star, 5 points of the star, and then the sun. So 25 in all. And these numbers as well have to be significant. Now, how would we do this? There's several ways to do this. 19 definite colors. A star, which is 20, and a sun, which is 21. That's one way to do it. But the star is 5-pointed, and the sun is singular, and it's deep indigo blue. So even though we may say that this is very much a third-ray Mahachohanic path, look at the 5-pointed star of deep indigo shade and the warm dark blue of the blazing sun. What number? 7. We come up with the number 7, or the number 7. Well, it sounds that we can correlate this with Orion fairly well. There are 7 major stars in Orion. But what is Orion? Is it going to be the solar plexus center? Now, Orion definitely has to do with cosmic vision. Not much with hearing per se, but there's the blinding and the restoration of sight. So is Orion a heart center, or is it a solar plexus center? Is our 7 solar systems, of which ours is one, a solar plexus center, or some other kind of center? Or some would say with no center at all, but I think we have established fairly convincingly that it is a center. It's our constellation, and it is a center through which the one about whom naught may be said can work. So the Jupiter scheme is connected. Now let's just see if we can make a few connections here. So we have Jupiter, Heart, Soul, Betelgeuse, Orion. These are connections which have come to us as we contemplate, as we ponder this particular path. And then, of course, all the indigo and the multicoloredness. The multicoloredness suggests to me the fourth ray. All the colors of the spectrum. All the colors of the spectrum and more to be woven together. So this is the third ray and the fourth ray together. Third and fourth rays together would be sufficiently creative to travel this path. The quality gained is cosmic etheric vision. So vision on the higher ethers. The extent of the vision developed being within the solar system, which form, along with our solar system, the seven systems which form along with our solar system, the seven centers in the cosmic life with whom our solar logos is allied. Whoa. So this, if I haven't made this really clear, this absolutely points, absolutely points to the one greater than our logos, number one, not two. So what, oh, we're getting there, aren't we? Well, we're almost there. Let's see here. Page 1257, that's where we are. So this calls for insertion in the AAB extracts, TCF 1257, one greater than our logos, the seven solar systems, which form a cosmic life with whom our solar logos is allied. The seven solar system of which ours is one. Okay, not the one about whom. Not the one about whom. Not may be said. This is unfortunately U.S. English, so I will change that. Set as default, and there we go. So not the one about whom not may be said, and we'll get rid of those. This is a very important statement because it points directly. This points directly to a being who is not the one about whom not may be said, but with whom our solar system, our solar logos, is allied. So this points directly to a great being, a cosmic logos, which is not the one about whom not may be said, but with which our solar system is, or our solar logos, is allied. And there are seven systems. The seven systems which form, along with our solar system, the seven centers of the cosmic life, with whom our solar system is allied. So check TCF 293 for the description of a cosmic logos. I would say. All right, so here we will go into, yeah, we'll go into this one. It's a very long sentence, but I think important. All right. Now I think we are reaching the point where we can say that, well, do you see that? This is, there's one great, and this cosmic life is one greater than our logos, but not the only one. Okay. So it goes. And we'll get rid of that. And let's see where we are. Well, I think we are far enough along to say that this is the end of Cosmic Fire, Webinar Commentaries number 22B, Path of Higher Evolution Compilation, page 76, and beginning with Cosmic Fire Webinar Commentaries 23A, Paths of Higher Evolution Compilation, page 76. Well, friends, I'm slogging it out here. Maybe I'm just a little tired on this one, maybe speaking just a little too slowly, but trying to grasp the relationships. There's only one way to do this, it seems to me, is become thoroughly saturated in the thought forms of the Tibetan concerning these matters. And this saturation will yield its own revelation. It comes up with a little mantra here, I guess. Saturation yields revelation. So steep yourself in it, be the well-soaked tea bag, the well-steeped tea bag. Steep yourself in what he says, because all kinds of connections will begin to form in your consciousness, and that will overcome the illusion of separation when it comes to the many items of which he has spoken. One can ingest these items as separate nuggets of information, but then some kind of connective alchemy begins to occur, and the many start to become the one in your own consciousness. Well, sometimes I run into points which stymie me, and the item does not seem to be related as it should be to others. But in time and with pondering, this can happen. So what do we have so far, in a way? Just something I want to, I know we've ended, but I'm not quite ending here. Almost ending. We have a path which, the pursuit of which makes Chohans into Planetary Logoi eventually, and Sub-Logoi and other Sub-Sub-Logoi along the way. We have betel juice as a heart center. We have betel. Yeah, I'm going to do that one. That's one should not have to spell out all the time, BTL. And we'll call this betel, G-E-U, Betelgeuse. We have Betelgeuse as the heart center. We have Betelgeuse as a blind for the constellation Orion. We have the theme of cosmic vision in Orion, not so much cosmic hearing. We have Sagittarius as related to this path, and Sagittarius is a hunter, as is Orion, a seeker. So that implicates the sixth ray, doesn't it? I've often thought, there's more than one ray in these great constellations. There certainly must be. We've seen that with Libra, have we not? We have Jupiter as the place of training for those on this path who come from our planetary scheme. We have a multi-colored symbol. We have artistry and creativity. We have the weaving of the colors which veil the life, and attentiveness to the heavenly choir. In fact, conducting the heavenly choir as a director and looking, I suppose, for color and sound harmony. This is called prismatic identification. We also have an indigo star, symbol of the soul, and a great sun of a warm blue. So we have the second and sixth rays both connected with this path. And we know as well this is a Mahachohanic path as well. We also know that approach to this path occurs in the department of the Mahachohan. Okay. So some mixture of the second, third, and fourth rays. Consciousness and creativity. So what do we have as well? We have cosmic vision, Deva hearing, psychic correlation. These are all many factors which stick in my mind as relating to this path. Well, over time, of course, but that's how it goes. And we have the idea, of course, that not so many tread this path. We certainly have the blue. We certainly have the blue connected with this path. And some might say, well, that's the solar plexus, but not when you have indigo. And we have the Betelgeuse correlation with the heart center. And just the way Sirius is with the head. So Betelgeuse as a heart center and Sirius as the head center. All right, these are some of the most important aspects connected with this path, and we still have more from cosmic fire, and then from quite a bit to say in the rays and the initiations, and then certain hierarchical changes telling us of the 9 paths, right? And that's a lot. And he goes into this, but it's probably very relevant and quite lengthy. And then the archaic stanza, which again is not short, but maybe not as long quite as some of the other ones. So we have a long way to go into the 90s when still discussing this particular path. And here we are, maybe another 12 pages we have to go. Well, that will do it for the moment, and we are only a mere 14 or 15 minutes over. So everybody, whoop, there we go. We will continue shortly. Each one of these, seems to take a day to do or more. And then perhaps convene a class to discuss these matters at some point, if the world situation will tolerate such a focus. Okay, we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.